Welcome, beautiful world and crystal family, bringing Pleiadian, Arcturian, and Sirius consciousness to the planet. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. This is my first video of many where I'm going to be bringing to light a lot of very powerful information that I've acquired working with crystals through this ascension process. So first, I'll introduce myself. I'm Joshua Sisler, owner and co-creator of Stargatekeys out of the Bay Area. You can check me out on Instagram. I work with crystals doing lapidary work, and I hand facet it. So the unique characteristics of hand faceting a gemstone allows the energy to freely flow directly from my hand and allow the geometry of the crystal to be created by and guided by the mind's eye. So the energy transfer and the energetic alignment created by the sacred geometry being created instantaneously while manifesting these crystals into crystalline form is just a unique quality to have and bring to light on this planet instead of the disconnection that we have in the realm of cutting stones. Anyway, so that's another topic for another time, but Joshua Sisler, owner and co-creator of Stargatekeys, and I'm going to just introduce how I got into crystals myself, because that's always a fun topic. So out of nowhere, I'm living in San Francisco, living the mainstream life. You know, I was valet parking at a strip club, doing great, you know, good money and everything, but still didn't feel a passion for what you're doing. You know, you're just working and creating currency in a natural flow, ebb and flow of life, but we're here for a certain reason. When you go through the conscious shift, through conscious ascension, you start to awaken to this and realize that, you know, as consciousness reincarnated into this body, we're actually here for a reason. And once we start to understand that, all the information starts to kind of align for us, and we'll guide you. So if you're aware of the signs being introduced to you, you'll be guided by, I like to call it source, or whatever, your higher self. You know, it's just connecting with the oneness, source, Gaia, anything that just seems to give you intuitive guidance towards doing what you're supposed to be doing on the planet, not the distorted ebb and flow that seems to be going on at all times. So I went to a random, all the roommates wanted me to go to a random street fair. I was in the Marina District, so, you know, it was kind of yuppie, and I wasn't like about it, but I ended up going with them anyways. And what I noticed on the street fair wasn't all the mainstream vending. It was this interesting kid on the side of the street who basically had a blanket laid out and a bunch of crystals that he'd mined himself, and it was very unique. I was drawn to this main crystal he had, and he kind of gave it to me and told me it was a crystal I was supposed to be working with, and instantly felt attached to this crystal. And it's wild when I look back and people ask me what this guy looked like. He looks like me now, 4 or 5 years later. You know, like it was almost like I put a glitch in the matrix in some way and gave myself a crystal and told myself I was supposed to be introduced to this realm. So anyways, I take this crystal home, and somehow just started resonating and creating an altar. Before I knew it, within about 2 weeks to a month, there's like, you know, anywhere from 8 to 10 crystals surrounding this beautiful piece. And I know where I picked up a Ganesha, and I didn't even know about Ganesha or anything. And so my introduction to Ganesha as well has been just extreme and abundant and beautiful for me. And as I look down, the clock says 3:33 right when I said Ganesha. So another synchronistic alignment of how things happen. And when you can look down and acknowledge these kind of things, you know, people may just say it's a coincidence, but when you truly start to acknowledge and embody this magic, accept it as your reality, that's when the magic can truly happen. So anyways, my introduction to this crystal brought such a beautiful vibration to my room. I called my mom and I said, you know, Mom, this is so unique. I acquired this crystal from some kid on the side of the street. And basically I felt like it was spiritually guiding me. Now I know it was, because the connection of Ganesha being introduced as well, another spiritual guide. So the crystals alone, I felt like were spiritually guiding me. And my mom just kind of laughed and said, well, is it a record keeper crystal? And I was like, what is a record keeper crystal? And my mom got into a story. She said that, well, 12 years ago when we lived in Santa Cruz, she had a psychic reading, and this powerful psychic that allowed her to tape and record this reading gifted her this crystal, taught her about the Atlantean technology stored inside of crystals and how to read record keepers. And when I'm like, well, okay, what is all this? I'm getting all excited. My mom explains to me. I can't really understand it, so I had to wait until I took a trip out to Indiana, where she actually gifts me the crystal in person. that she got from the psychic 12 years ago. That was basically the psychic had even told her that she was supposed to introduce this to me when I became aware of crystal consciousness. And I was like, because of course I'm wondering, why didn't you give me this 12 years ago? And my mom laughs. She goes, well, yeah, you were into hip hop and you were doing your thing. You guys were all getting into trouble. You probably would have thrown that crystal out the window. You wouldn't even have been consciously aware of the guidance it was supposed to give you. And I just kind of laughed. I'm like, oh my God. So my mom's had this knowledge, this information that she's been waiting to share with me for 12 years until I hit her up with a serious passion. And all of a sudden, I know where I look at this crystal, and what I notice is that what's going on when she's been taught how to read a record keeper crystal. The record keeper crystals, we'll get into that right now. So if you are wondering and you're getting into crystals and magic and all the unique information provided, one very unique aspect of this realm and the crystals and consciousness and everything it has to offer. Hold on one second, I'll be back.